The alien delegation sat in the dimly lit corner of the bar, their elongated faces twisting in amusement. The establishment was a modest one, a relic of humanity's simpler times: wooden barstools, flickering neon signs, and the smell of fried food hanging thick in the air. A jukebox hummed a tune in the background, a melody from an ancient Earth era. They had come to observe. To laugh. Across the galaxy, the reputation of Earth and its inhabitants was one of weakness. Humans, the so-called dominant species of their planet, were seen as fragile, emotional, and primitive. The Galactic Union tolerated them, but they were far from respected. The dominant races, species who had conquered entire star systems, scoffed at the idea that humans could ever be their equals. And tonight, these aliens had come to see proof of humanity's inferiority firsthand. Then the fight broke out. It started with a sharp laugh. A man at the bar, broad-shouldered and rugged, clinked his glass down a little too hard. He wasn't drunk, not yet, but he was agitated. The man beside him, lean with a sharp jaw and a smirk that begged for trouble, nudged him with an elbow. "Still sore about the game, Cole?" he taunted. Cole exhaled through his nose, gripping his glass tighter. "You know, David, there's a time and a place." David chuckled, shaking his head. "Oh, come on. We both know the team choked. Just admit it." Cole turned, slowly. His gaze was steady, his jaw tight. The room felt a degree warmer. At the corner table, one of the aliens nudged another. "Watch," it murmured in its native tongue, a language untranslatable by human ears. "They will bicker like infants. This is their nature." But the tension in the air shifted. David, emboldened by the few drinks he'd had, gave Cole's shoulder a playful shove. A mistake. In an instant, Cole's muscles coiled like steel cables. The next moment, he moved. A punch flew, not wild, not reckless, but calculated. It landed clean against David's jaw, sending him stumbling back into a chair, which crashed to the floor. The bar fell silent for half a second before the chaos erupted. Chairs scraped, drinks spilled, voices rose. More men got involved, some to stop the fight, others to settle their own scores. Fists connected, tables overturned. It wasn't just mindless violence, it was something raw, something primal. From their corner, the aliens stopped laughing. One of them, a tall, silver-skinned observer, leaned forward, its eyes narrowing. It had seen battles across 100 worlds. It had witnessed wars waged by the most fearsome warriors in the galaxy. But this was different. These humans weren't fighting for dominance. They weren't fighting for territory, resources, or survival. They were fighting for something else. For pride. For passion. For reasons that only they could understand. And as the fight raged, as bodies slammed into tables and the air filled with the sound of gritted teeth and clenched fists, the aliens saw something they had never considered before. Humans weren't weak. They weren't fragile. They were something else entirely. And for the first time, the aliens felt something unexpected. Not amusement. Not condescension. The night after the bar fight, the alien delegation gathered in their sleek observation vessel hovering silently above Earth's surface. The transparent walls of the ship offered a panoramic view of the city lights below, twinkling like distant stars. The beings, tall and elegant with shimmering skin and eyes like pools of liquid metal, replayed the footage from the bar. The fight had been chaotic, primal, but there was something deeper, a spark they couldn't fully comprehend. Primitive aggression, one of the delegates, Vexer, muttered, but there was hesitation in his tone. "No," countered Zyrek, the eldest among them. His voice echoed through the chamber, commanding attention. There was discipline beneath the chaos. Strategy in the madness. They fought with emotion, but their instincts, they were sharp. Too sharp for a species deemed fragile. Vexor frowned. Emotion is a weakness. That's what we've always known. Zyrek's metallic fingers tapped the console in front of him, fast-forwarding through the fight to a particular moment, when Cole, despite the fury, had pulled back his fist, choosing not to strike a fallen opponent. Is it weakness, or something else? A heavy silence filled the room. Back on Earth. Cole sat alone on a park bench, a bandage wrapped around his knuckles. The cool breeze brushed against his face as he stared at the city skyline. He hated losing control, but that fight had been different. It wasn't just about pride or anger. "Thought I'd find you here," a familiar voice called out. Cole turned to see David walking up, his jaw still swollen from the punch. Despite the bruises, he smiled. Cole sighed. "You came to gloat?" David chuckled, then sat beside him. "Nah. Just wanted to say, you hit like a freight train." They both laughed, the tension dissolving. "Why do we do this?" Cole finally asked. "Why fight like that over something so stupid?" David leaned back, looking at the stars above. "Because we care too much, I guess. It's not about the fight itself, it's about standing for something, even if it seems small. That's just who we are." On the alien vessel. Zyrek's eyes widened as he listened through the hidden transmitters. "They fight, because they feel deeply," he murmured. Vexor sneered. "Feelings make them unstable. But it also makes them unpredictable," Zyrek countered. "No calculation can predict an emotional response. That makes them dangerous." Another alien delegate, Soren, added, "And in battle, unpredictability is a strength we cannot afford to underestimate." Suddenly, alarms blared within the vessel. A transmission came through from the Galactic Union. The Deathworlders are to be re-evaluated. Their classification as low threat is under question. Zyrek stood tall, a mix of awe and fear in his gaze. "They're more than we thought. Much more." Back on Earth. Cole and David stood up from the park bench, their friendship stronger despite the bruises. Cole looked up at the stars, unaware of the eyes watching from above. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "I feel like someone's out there, watching us." David laughed. "If they are, I hope they caught your right hook." They both laughed again, but neither knew just how close that truth was. High above, the alien delegation watched in silence, realizing that humanity's true power wasn't just in their strength, but in their heart, their passion, and their unbreakable spirit. In the vastness of space, the Galactic Union Council convened. A colossal chamber, floating amid the swirling nebulae, was filled with beings of all shapes and forms, some with shimmering wings, others encased in crystalline exoskeletons, and a few who appeared as living clouds of light. All sat in silence, focused on the center, where Zyrek stood before the assembly. A deep voice echoed through the chamber. "Zyrek of Zalari, you claim the Deathworlders, humans, are more dangerous than previously assessed. Present your evidence." Zyrek bowed his head, then gestured towards a holographic display. The footage from the bar fight played again, but this time, slowed down and analyzed. The council watched as Cole moved through the chaos with precision, his strikes efficient but measured, his restraint evident. Notice how, despite the aggression, the human displays control. He pulls his punches, protects those around him, even his opponent at times, Zyrek explained. They possess both savagery and compassion in a delicate balance. A ripple of murmurs spread through the council. Soren stepped forward. "But is that not simply instinct? Many species act on primal urges." Zyrek shook his head. "No. Humans choose. They decide when to unleash their fury and when to hold back. Their emotions drive them, but they aren't ruled by them. This makes them unpredictable, and incredibly dangerous." The council leader, a towering figure made of shimmering energy, spoke. They are fragile compared to most species. How can they pose a threat? Zyrek took a breath. Because they fight for more than survival. They fight for pride, for love, for honor. Reasons that logic can't predict. The chamber fell into a heavy silence. Meanwhile, on Earth. Cole walked into his apartment, nursing his still healing hand. His sister, Maya, sat on the couch, watching an old sci-fi movie. "You're home late," she said without looking away from the screen. "Yeah," Cole muttered, sitting beside her. "Rough night." She noticed the bruises. "You got into another fight?" He hesitated, then nodded. Maya sighed. "You can't keep doing this, Cole. It's like you're always looking for a reason to fight." Cole clenched his jaw, emotions swirling inside him. "It's not about the fight. It's about standing up for something. Even if no one else does." Maya looked at him, her eyes softening. "I get it. But you don't always have to carry the world on your shoulders." They sat in silence, the weight of unspoken words filling the room. Back in space. The Galactic Council deliberated. Voices clashed, some calling for Earth's isolation, others for peaceful observation. But Zyrek knew the truth. Humanity wasn't ready to know they were being watched. Yet, if provoked, they could become the galaxy's most dangerous species, not because of their weapons or technology, but because of their hearts. The council leader's voice finally echoed through the chamber. The Deathworlders are to be reclassified. From this day forward, humanity is considered a level 1 threat, to be observed, but never engaged. Zyrek nodded solemnly. But deep within, he wondered, what would happen if humans ever learned of this? Would they see it as a threat, or a challenge? Earth spun silently in the vastness of space, unaware of the Galactic Union's decision. But for Zyrek, the revelation of humanity's reclassification weighed heavily. He stood aboard his ship, staring down at the blue planet, his thoughts a whirl of fascination and fear. "They're more than we thought," he muttered to himself. But back on Earth, life continued as usual, chaotic, beautiful, and unpredictable. Cole's dilemma. Cole sat alone on a park bench, watching the sunset melt across the horizon. The bruises on his knuckles had faded, but the tension inside hadn't. His mind replayed the bar fight, not just the violence, but something deeper. Why had he held back? He remembered seeing fear in the alien's eyes, not fear of pain, but fear of him. Just then, Maya approached, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Still brooding?" she teased, handing him one. Cole offered a weak smile. "Just thinking." Maya sat beside him. "About the fight?" He hesitated, then nodded. "I felt something strange. Like I was being watched. Judged." Maya raised an eyebrow. "You think it was more than just a brawl?" "Maybe," Cole whispered. "It felt bigger." Maya chuckled, trying to lighten the mood. "Well, unless aliens are monitoring bar fights, I think you're overthinking it." Cole forced a laugh, but deep down, a nagging feeling lingered. Zyrek's conflict. Hovering above Earth's atmosphere, Zyrek paced the control room of his ship. The Council's order was clear: observe, never engage, but Zyrek couldn't shake his curiosity. Why had Cole shown mercy? In his experience, species from Deathworlds were aggressive, primal, and brutal. But Cole had displayed something rare: restraint, even compassion in the heat of battle. Zyrek's internal conflict grew. Part of him wanted to follow the Council's orders, but another part, his deeper instinct, urged him to understand why humans were the way they were. Were they truly dangerous? Or was there something deeper driving them? A glimpse into humanity. Unable to resist, Zyrek initiated a low-level scan of Cole's surroundings, not invasive, but enough to observe. He watched as Cole and Maya spoke, laughing, arguing, sharing stories of their late parents. Zyrek was taken aback by the emotional depth, the rawness of their connection. They fight, but they love just as fiercely, he mused. At one point, Maya handed Cole an old photograph of their father, a war veteran who had fought for peace. "Dad always said," Maya began, "the strongest people aren't the ones who hit the hardest, but the ones who know when not to." Cole's eyes misted. "I miss him." Zyrek felt something stir within him, a sense of respect. It wasn't humanity's strength or violence that made them dangerous. It was their ability to feel deeply, to channel love and pain into something powerful. A dangerous revelation. Suddenly, alarms blared aboard Zyrek's ship. Another vessel, unidentified, had entered Earth's orbit. Zyrek's eyes widened. No, the Council ordered observation only. The rogue ship fired a scanning beam directly at Cole's location. On Earth, Cole instinctively felt the shift in energy, his skin tingled, his heart raced. He grabbed Maya's hand. "We need to move. Now." Maya, confused but trusting her brother's instincts, followed without question. Zyrek scrambled to intercept the rogue signal, but he was too late. The unauthorized ship had already tagged Cole as a potential anomaly, a human with traits that posed a galactic threat. If the Council discovered this breach, they might escalate humanity's status, from a level 1 threat to level 0, the highest and most dangerous classification, one that warranted eradication. Zyrek's heart raced. He had to make a choice, follow the Council's strict orders, or break protocol to save humanity from itself. A crossroads. Back on Earth, Cole stopped in a secluded alley, breathing heavily. "Did you feel that?" he asked Maya, who shook her head, wide-eyed. "What are you talking about?" Before he could answer, the sky above shimmered faintly, almost imperceptibly, as if something unseen was watching. Cole's instincts screamed that something larger was at play, something far beyond his understanding. Zyrek watched from above, torn between duty and empathy. He had seen enough to understand that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its ability to destroy, but in its capacity to care, even amidst chaos. But will the Council see it that way, he wondered. The fate of humanity now hung in the balance. The night sky above Earth shimmered, almost imperceptibly, as if the very fabric of space trembled with tension. Zyrek's ship hovered unseen in orbit, cloaked and silent. But inside, alarms still blared, a warning of the Council's imminent arrival. Unauthorized scan detected. Council enforcers en route. Zyrek clenched his fists. He had crossed a line by observing Cole so closely, but the rogue ship's actions had pushed the situation into dangerous territory. Humanity was now exposed, vulnerable, and potentially marked for eradication. Cole's awakening. Back on Earth, Cole stood in the alley, his heart pounding in his chest. Something was wrong, he could feel it in his bones. The sensation of being watched had intensified, like a weight pressing down on him. Maya looked at him, confused and concerned. "Cole, what's going on? You're scaring me." He struggled to find the right words. "I don't know. I feel like we're in danger. Like something's watching us. Not just people, something bigger." Before Maya could respond, the ground beneath them trembled slightly, subtle, but unnatural. A faint blue glow appeared in the sky, almost like a rift, and for a split second, Cole saw it, a massive ship hovering high above, just before it vanished back into cloaking. His breath caught. "I'm not imagining this." Maya grabbed his arm. "Did you see that?" He nodded grimly. "We need to get somewhere safe." Zyrek's gamble. Inside his ship, Zyrek weighed his options. The Council's enforcers would arrive soon, and when they did, there would be no room for debate. Humanity would be deemed too dangerous, a species capable of destruction but also of unpredictable compassion. To the Council, that volatility made Earth a threat. But Zyrek had seen something different in Cole, something the Council would never understand. Humanity wasn't dangerous because of its violence, it was dangerous because of its heart, the capacity to love fiercely, to protect, to forgive even when wronged. He made his decision. Initiate extraction sequence, Zyrek commanded. A beam shot from his ship, locking onto Cole's location. First contact. Cole barely had time to react before a shimmering column of blue light engulfed him and Maya. He felt his body lift, weightless, the world spinning around him. Maya screamed, clutching his arm as they ascended through the light. Seconds later, they found themselves standing inside Zyrek's ship, surrounded by sleek metallic walls that pulsed with energy. The air was thick with an almost electric charge. Cole spun around, placing himself between Maya and the unknown, fists raised. Zyrek stepped forward from the shadows, his towering figure humanoid but distinctly alien, pale blue skin, sharp angular features, and piercing golden eyes filled with something unexpected, empathy. "I mean you no harm," Zyrek spoke, his voice smooth yet filled with urgency. "But there's little time." Cole didn't lower his fists. What are you?" Zyrek hesitated before answering. "I am Zyrek, an observer from the Galactic Union. I've been watching your species." Maya's eyes widened. "Aliens? This is real?" Zyrek nodded. "Your actions, your choices, have drawn attention. And now, the Council is coming. They see your world as a threat." The Council's verdict. As Zyrek spoke, his ship's monitors flickered to life, displaying several colossal vessels descending toward Earth. Their forms were elegant yet imposing, radiating power. "They plan to eradicate your species," Zyrek continued, his voice heavy. "But I believe they're wrong." Cole stepped forward, defiant. "Why? What did we do?" Zyrek's gaze was intense. "It wasn't what you did, it was what you didn't do. In that bar fight, you had the power to destroy your opponent, but you chose mercy. That choice, small as it seemed, spoke volumes. It showed that your species has potential, not just for violence, but for restraint, compassion, and something far rarer in the galaxy, hope." Maya's voice trembled. "Then help us. Don't let them destroy Earth." Zyrek looked torn. The Council does not listen to emotion. They see only data, patterns, risk. But perhaps, there's another way. The ultimate test. Zyrek turned to Cole. "They won't listen to me, but they might listen to you. A direct appeal. A chance to show them that humanity isn't a threat, but a species worth saving." Cole hesitated. "Me? I'm no diplomat." Zyrek's expression softened. "You don't need to be. Speak from the heart." That's something they've never encountered before. Moments later, the ship's interior shifted, transforming into a grand chamber. A holographic projection flickered to life, massive figures representing the Council appeared, their forms towering and cold, faces obscured by shadows. Zyrek bowed deeply. "Honorable Council, I present a member of the species in question." A low, echoing voice filled the chamber. "Human, speak. Convince us why your world should be spared." The weight of the galaxy pressed down on Cole, but he stood tall, Maya's hand gripping his for strength. He cleared his throat, heart racing. "We're not perfect. We make mistakes. We fight, we argue, we hurt each other sometimes. But we also love, we forgive, and we protect what we care about. I don't know much about your galaxy or your rules, but I do know this: every species deserves a chance to be better. To grow." There was silence, long and suffocating. Then, a different voice broke through. "And if your species fails?" If it uses its strength for destruction? Cole didn't waver. Then we'll pay the price. But until then, let us try. A moment of truth. The council figures conferred in murmurs, their voices distorted. The tension in the room was unbearable. Finally, the lead figure spoke. A decision has been made. Earth will be spared, under observation. But any sign of unchecked violence, and we will not hesitate to return. The holograms vanished. Cole exhaled, feeling the weight lift slightly, though the threat still lingered. Zyrek smiled faintly. You did what no other species has. You appealed not to logic, but to something deeper. Cole looked around the ship, then at Maya, who was holding back tears. We get to go home? Zyrek nodded. For now. But remember, your choices carry more weight than you realize. The view from Zyrek's ship offered a breathtaking sight, Earth, floating in the vast darkness of space, fragile yet resilient. For Cole, it was a moment of realization. Their world had come dangerously close to destruction, and most people below had no idea. Zyrek stood beside him, arms crossed, his golden eyes reflecting the swirling clouds over Earth. It's strange, Cole murmured, to think that a small choice, a moment of mercy, saved all of that. Zyrek's voice was calm but heavy with meaning. Small choices often carry the heaviest consequences. The Council isn't wrong to fear humanity's potential for destruction. But they've never understood the equal power of compassion. Back on Earth. In a shimmer of light, Zyrek's ship lowered Cole and Maya back to the ground, right where they'd been taken. The alley now felt different, as if the weight of the galaxy still lingered there. Maya clung to Cole's arm. Did that really happen? Cole nodded. Yeah. And I think we just got a second chance. Maya's eyes welled with tears. Why you? Why us? Cole hesitated. I'm still trying to figure that out. But maybe because I didn't throw that last punch. Because, for once, I thought before I acted. She smiled through her tears. Then I'm glad you did. The world remains unaware. Days passed, but there were no news reports about alien ships or near-extinction events. The Council had ensured that Earth remained oblivious to how close it had come to being wiped out. But Cole carried the burden of that knowledge. He found himself changing, not in grand ways, but in the small, everyday decisions. He broke up fights in the bar without throwing a punch. He talked to regulars about kindness and choices, using vague stories without revealing the truth. His world hadn't changed, but he had. Zyrek's final visit. One evening, as Cole sat alone in the bar, nursing a drink, a shimmer filled the room. No one else noticed, time had frozen. Zyrek appeared across from him, leaning against the bar, his tall frame blending into the shadows. I thought I might find you here, Zyrek said. Cole raised his glass. You watching me again? Zyrek smiled faintly. Always. The Council will be too. Cole sighed, running a hand through his hair. It's a lot of pressure, knowing one mistake could doom us all. Zyrek's voice softened. That's the burden of mercy. It's easy to destroy. It takes true strength to protect. There was a pause, filled only by the stillness of frozen time. I was angry that night, Cole admitted. Angry at everything. But choosing not to hit that guy, it didn't feel like a big decision then. Most great choices don't, Zyrek replied. But that moment defined you. And through you, it defined your world. A gift and a warning. Zyrek placed a small object on the bar, a metallic coin-like disc, pulsing with soft blue light. What's that? Cole asked. A key, Zyrek said. If the Council ever returns with worse intentions, this will alert you. It also holds knowledge, about the galaxy, about others like you. Use it wisely. Cole picked it up, feeling its strange warmth. Why give this to me? Zyrek's golden eyes glimmered. Because I believe in second chances. And I believe you'll make the right choices when it matters most. With that, Zyrek vanished, time resuming as if nothing had happened. The burden of knowing. Cole tucked the disc into his jacket pocket, its weight far heavier than its size. He looked around the bar, seeing life continue as normal, people laughing, arguing, drinking. They had no idea how close they'd come to losing everything. But he did. And in that moment, he understood, life wasn't about the grand moments or epic battles. It was about the small choices, the ones no one noticed, that shaped the future. Cole raised his glass quietly, toasting to no one in particular. To second chances.